So hey friends, welcome to this week's video. I'm shooting a little bit more mobilely, so I don't have all my microphones with me. I'm gonna do my best I can because I want to really try to keep this like weekly video and get back up to pace like I used to be. So this week we're gonna be talking about a sneaker, and I got this in Japan. And we went to the Red Store and picked up a pair of Mexico 66s from Onitsuka Tiger. I know for some people this is going to look like an A6, but Onitsuka Tiger came first before they started doing all their expansion stuff. And this is one of their classic models, the one that really kind of like broke it out for them and gave them a huge cult following. Obviously, this is super popular model, especially with things like the gazelles and kill shots coming back into sort of style. And I'm gonna give you a little bit more insights on how these look and how these sort of break down. But first, I do want to talk about the Onitsuka Tiger Red Store experience when you go to Ginza, Tokyo, just in case any of you guys are interested. So again, before I go into the shoe more in depth, let's talk about the acquisition of these guys.
So the Onitsuka Tiger Red Store in Ginza opens around 11 a.m. and as a result, we wanted to plan to get there 2 hours ahead just in case there was any crazy lines. You know, we prepare ourselves, all that sort of stuff. Luckily, we got there around 8:30 thanks to quick transit. When we got there was only one person in line in front of us, so we figured we had enough time. So we went to go get some pancakes, came back probably 40 minutes later, and there was already got to be like 50 people in front of us already. So we got in line kind of dejected because we were like, oh my god, we were right there. But instead we kind of had to wait. But they did start kind of segmenting people off, so like the first 30 people got to go in once the store opens, and for the rest of us we got kind of this QR code that you see here that would tell us when we could come back. Essentially, by scanning the QR code, it'll take you to a website that will show you where you stand and when you can come in. So if it says okay, that means you can come through and get your stuff customized. Otherwise, you just have to wait. And since we knew we weren't going to get serviced immediately, we decided to leave and come back. So we got some shenanigans done, some shopping done, and of course, you know, saw a little bit of 𝐄𝐍𝐉𝐻. I did take a screenshot at the end of the day after dinner, so 375 is as much as they could do for that day. So once we got inside, we finally got to go downstairs and see the plethora of options, or what we thought were options. There were a lot of cool looking sneakers here, and a lot of people really like these metallic ones of all different colors, and also just like some of the other models that were a little bit more summery. They did have some stuff like boots, they did have laceless options, they have a lot of these collapsible heel options because we were there in spring, so you started to see a little bit more things that would be a little bit more breezy and lightweight. There were some special editions that you see here that were of limited quantities, and then there were some behind the glass that were super dope, but these were long sold out like months ago, so these were just for display. There was nothing available, unfortunately, but there were some ones here that I would have grabbed in a second if they were. When I come into those options, I was excited when I came here, but looking through, there was actually not that many things available. Like, yes, they were on the shelves, but there wasn't a lot for us in terms of our sizing. So we really had to scramble around and try to find something that worked. And for us, we were lucky enough to at least get one sneaker each. Some of us got two, but we at least got something for the memories, and this is where we got them customized. Overall, it was super hectic. Not the easiest experience, and a little bit frustrating with the limited sizing, but you know, it's a good little souvenir to get, and it's not outrageously priced at all, so very reasonable. This was something that I was really happy that we did, even though it did take a lot of time, but we all got really dope shoes and something that commemorates our friendship and something that we can wear together when we hang out. The shoes I got were the Mexico 66 XD, or Soft Deluxe. These shoes follow the classic sleek and low profile silhouette of the regular model, but utilize different materials to boost the quality and comfort. I'll talk about some of these features as I zoom into the various parts of the shoe. Starting with the uppers, the leather on the SD is usually higher grade or full grain leather, which makes it more supple to the touch. It also makes the material more durable and breathable while giving it a natural look that patinas well over time. This may lead to more creases, but get over it. Creases are character. Learn that. On the toe box, you'll see that the toe cap is nicely double stitched. My model has a matching leather overlay, but you can see contrasting suede overlays on a lot of models as well. The toe mudguard also has a dash pattern, which can also be a flat pattern depending on the shoe. I like the texture add here, especially for those shoes that don't have that suede toe cap. Now that we've gone over the front, let's swing over to the back and show some of the defining characteristics of the Mexico 66. The back tabs and X pattern on the heel are iconic for this model. For the SD model, you'll notice a nicer leather, with the screen printing leaving a little bit of an impression here, while the standard model doesn't have that same impression. These tabs aren't just for looks and can be used as pull tabs to help get the shoe on. Just be wary that some pants you wear may sweep those tabs up on you. Onto the midsole, it is slightly thicker than the standard model and is designed for longevity and comfortable wear. Some users on Reddit have mentioned the use of fused gel in the heel and toe, but I haven't found official specs mentioning that, so I can't confirm. But that would be cool. As for the outsole, they implement a dragon scale-like pattern that seems to be thicker material and a deeper tread than the standard model. The SD also uses ASIC's high anti-abrasion resistant rubber, aka AHAR, to help improve the durability and the grip of the outsole. The laces are quite skinny, which help with the understated looks. However, for some people with smaller feet and that like to have that lockdown fit, this might be an issue for the laces being a little bit too long for you. But for people with normal size feet or wide feet, you should be okay. In terms of the eyelets, they have a nice bedding that the laces swing through, and on the SD models, you'll have a nice metal aglet on the top holes. The tongue has a nicely stitched leather panel on the logo, which flows nicely into the logo's screen printed on the insole. They also have a nice knitted lining on the heel. The insole is an upgraded Ortholite X40, giving it a better bounce, support, and comfort over the standard model. The SD also has a removable insole while the standard is glued down. Lastly, in terms of sizing, the standard and SD models are true to size. Everyone on my trip, as well as people trying things in the store, were mostly going true to size and didn't have much issues. The only caveat here is for the Nippon-made variants, which have different sizing, which is something that I will cover in a separate video. Now that you're well versed into the shoe itself and the differences between the standard and SD models, let's talk about how this vibes casually with everyday fits. I used this while flying and I was surprisingly how comfortable this was for the whole 6-hour flight. I didn't have to take them off, and that's probably due to the lightweight and breathable materials used. They handled my flight feet swells quite well. Obviously, the low profile silhouette works for really dressed down looks for the cafe, but they also work well for dressing up. We were in Seattle for a wedding and my feet were killing me from the dance floor, so I was relieved to have time to jump into my room and swap into these Mexico 66s before the after party. They saved my stamina and didn't mess with the vibe of my 9 Taylors fit, which I loved. It was also great just to be able to walk around in general. Back in my hometown, they still have some nice tree-lined walking trails that connect the different parts of the town. These perform great walking around my old stomping grounds and exploring what has changed. The sporty heritage of the shoe makes them great for these athleisure looks. Just don't be looking to do a pickup game or tennis matches in these. These are strictly for vibes. Speaking of vibes, here are some fits that we wore day to day while chilling at my parents' house. Overall, a super versatile shoe that can go from contemporary to classic and sporty to streetwear seamlessly. Alright, so street styles aside, casual styles aside, let's see how we can use this at work. I do like how the silhouette is really sleek and it's pretty low tone in terms of no flash here. So this is going to transition really well for work because it won't draw a ton of attention to you, and it won't shout that you're wearing a sneaker, but it'll still look pretty smart. So let's see how I style this. In terms of its versatility, it really just works with any pant. Like, this works really well with chinos, with jeans. It works really well if you're into more tapered looks. I think it's a little bit wonky when you get to really baggy jeans just because there's not enough shoe to sort of hold things up and things start dragging, but it still works relatively well as long as you have a nice cut. I just really like the fact that it's really low key and it doesn't really stick out too much, so no one really notices you're really wearing sneakers, and it just flows with your outfit very well even for work. I even tried to rock this with one of the more sporty suits that I had, and it worked out fine, especially because these were a little bit cropped. It really outlined the shoe, but also just gave a nice little silhouette for the whole suit, making it look very sharp and very smart. Nothing jarring for the silhouette or the colors, and it just really looked pretty natural. Even on more casual days when I was just wearing a Henley, again, this dressed down just as easy as it dressed up. I just really like the fact that it was able to flow through different formalities through my business trips, and it made it really easy to just be one shoe and not have to carry a bunch of them. I think it's just a very smart look because it does have that sort of sleekness of a dress shoe, but still has the comfort that allows you to wear it all day and not really worry where you end up after work. And just because of that nature and how lightweight it is and how comfortable it is, it ends up being my go-to sneaker for work. It's just something that's very easy to pick up, very easy to slip on, doesn't weigh me down, and just works with so many different outfits where it's almost mindless. Now let's talk about how this would be actively, especially because I did have to use this for working out because I did not bring proper sneakers on some of my trips when I was shooting this. And I will say that it's probably fine for most things that are not related to running. I think if you're just doing some weightlifting, it's flat enough where it won't be a big encumbrance, but I think it would maybe compress your foot if you're doing major squats. But if you're just using machines or doing, free weights at a hotel gym, this will be plenty fine. I think the biggest thing is that in certain angles you can't really bend it as nice and flexible as you'd like to. So you see here, like, I wasn't able to get good toe hold. I was literally on my toes and using all my weight on my knees, so it's just not great for certain bending motions. But again, if you're walking, I think you're fine. If you're running straight, you're probably fine too. It's just not the most supportive, and it doesn't really have that much torsion control there, so you might find yourself twisting an ankle. Again, don't do any sort of change of direction or side to sides, but if you're just walking, you're gonna have no issue here.
Whew. All right, so the Mexico 66. They are a classic for a reason because they are just so pretty. They work for a ton of different use cases, and I do like the fact that it's so flexible to transition between work and play and all those sort of things. I have a fat foot, and yet somehow this shoe still makes my foot look pretty slim. And I was really concerned because of that slimness, but I found that the more you wear these shoes, the better they look and the better they feel. So this has really formed to the shape of my foot the more I've worn it. And so it's kind of a vibe where I don't really care about the creasing. The creasing did happen relatively quickly, but it didn't make the shoe look cheap. It made it look lived in. It looked like cultivated in terms of like a look that you're trying to bring together. It's not too serious. It looks very, very comfortable. And I think that's the reason why it's so attractive to the eye no matter how much wear is on it. Obviously these come in a bunch of different colorways, but I chose a more classic one just because that was sort of a gap in my closet. However, I'm not really restricted to just the blues and reds. While those are nice with it, like I can wear an orange and it's still, enough subtlety where it kind of blends with the outfit. But again, if I ever wanted to have that pop, it does pop enough where it's not a boring white shoe, right? So I love the fact that it has that, and just the textured bottom just brings a little bit of a nice different look and feel to it. I like how this feels much more than the Gazelle, much more than the Kill Shot, because they're not killing my feet. These are surprisingly so comfortable to walk in. And again, as long as you're not doing change of direction or some crazy stuff like that, I would not subject your ankles to that unless you got some crazy plyometric strength and conditioning regimen going. But if you're just walking, strutting, just having a look, this is perfect. And again, it's so lightweight, it's breathable. I just love the fact of how it feels and forms to my foot that it ends up being one of my go-tos all the time. Again, I was really concerned with how thin the padding was, how thin the materials were, but it just works very cohesively. I was surprised. I thought this was just a fashion shoe, but this is very, very comfortable. So long walks, whatever, it wasn't really bothering me with that. So I think this is a wonderful staple to add to your collection. And again, there's also more expensive versions. which we will go over in a separate video, but for now, I think this is like a really easy cop, especially because they're not too expensive. They come in a ton of colorways. The biggest thing that you guys are gonna have to figure out is your sizing. For me, it was true to size, so I was really happy I was able to find that in Japan. There wasn't a ton of it, but the ones that I was able to get ended up being fine. So there is definitely a lot more Onitsuka Tiger stuff coming up, because I did pick up a few different pairs. But yeah, like those will be coming shortly. So if you guys want like this shoe or like other shoes from Onitsuka Tiger, stay locked, because I'll be doing more. Other things that we have on the docket there are like bags. We have way more Japan stuff to talk about. We have some electronic stuff, some gaming stuff. So there's a lot that have kind of come through the mail and stuff that I've been testing over the last few months that I need to catch up on. So again, I've missed you guys. I'm trying to be more consistent. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Yeah, so if you like this content or anything else you want to see, please comment, like, subscribe, do all things you normally do on a video that you like and love, and I really hope to see you guys soon. I'm gonna try to keep to this, you know, weekly schedule the best I can. Anyway, appreciate you as always. See you soon.